Everybody wanna be black. Everybody in the day. Everybody wanna be black. Until it's time to file them taxes. Until it's time to walk into their job interview and your skin color don't grant access. Damn. Everybody wanna be black. We athletic, make cool dances. But everybody tell the black man be quiet when he's strong and he take tough stances. Everybody wanna be black. When you're black, you influence everything in the coach.
Hi, my name is Elliott, owner and operator of AE Fitness. For those of you who have not met me, just to tell you a little bit about myself and my background, I am a captain in the United States Air Force, a 2008 graduate from the Citadel, and a certified personal trainer. Growing up very early on, I had a background in martial arts, which also spanned to Division I collegiate wrestling, and I took those talents and principles learned from an early age, and now I have applied them to my fitness career. Along my fitness career, I've been able to become a published fitness model, ambassador, and spokesman for several companies. So I'll close the video by a popular saying that I like to share with my clients. Be sure to immerse yourself in the process, take action, and enjoy the journey. Thank you so much.
How you living, family? This is Linton Hester with Live.Better.Now. This is the podcast, Counseling for the Culture. I'm so glad that you're able to join us tonight because I have a treat for you. So with that being said, I do have a few things that I would love for you to do. If you could go ahead, post, repost, and like and share, that will help us to get the word out for all men, black men, to be able to listen in on tonight's podcast show with our special guest. Now, there are a few housekeeping notes that I would love to share with you. First of all, I want to tell you about MENDay Monday. This month in June, celebrate three things. First of all, we want to acknowledge all the fathers. Father's Day is coming up. In addition to that, Juneteenth is June 19th. And what better way to celebrate MENDay Monday by focusing on the things that are Afrocentric and that are here to help African-American men move forward and be better in their lives. Lastly, we also have, guess what? Come on, listen to me. Guess what else? What else we got? This is Men's National Health Month. So this is a great way to celebrate, to focus on, and to fix your life. And that's why it's MENDay Monday, to help men mend themselves financially, physically, mentally, as well as overall. So I do have a great lineup for you for the entire month of June on every Monday. And I'll make greater announcements at the end of the episode. So what I would also like to do, in addition to that, I want to tell you about this gentleman that I have who is an awesome personal trainer. And so give me a minute, and what I'm going to do is just really rattle off on his bio. So Alan's fitness journey began as he grew up playing sports with a particular interest in wrestling. He found wrestling to be challenging both physically and mentally. A unique requirement of the sport was that of weight management. In order to compete, you had to make weight before each match. This taught him valuable lifelong lessons of both discipline and accountability. Discipline was needed to properly prepare for a match, and he learned what it meant to be accountable. Because of his coaches and teammates, they depended on him to make sure that he made weight. As an Air Force veteran, he subscribed to the Air Force core values, which are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Alan is grateful for the lessons learned from wrestling and the military because he has been able to apply those same skill sets towards his personal training and fitness model endeavors. As a fitness trainer, he provides guided solutions people who sincerely strive to meet their fitness goals. Check this out. He's dependable, easy to get along with, and willing to go the extra mile. Alan strives for excellence in all areas of his life and wants to help you crush your complacency. Boom. Fist bump. So without further ado, I would love to bring to the stage my man, the personal trainer, and our special guest for tonight on MENDay Monday, Counseling for the Culture, also known as Culture, Counsel Culture. Here he is, Mr. Alan here. All right. Welcome,
All right, hey
welcome,
guys,
welcome.
happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Linton. This is a true pleasure, and just excited to share with you all the gift of fitness. It's really changed my life, and I know it can impact many men and whoever is going to be blessed by this podcast.
Yes, we appreciate you, Alan, for taking the time out. And I want to tell you about what happened. I was really looking for something that I could do that would help bring attention to all the things that we hear, because social media is out there doing things. We have Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and we also have a lot of these cliff notes on how to get your body right. Right? I'm a dad, you're a dad, and we got a bunch of dads out there who are working, providing all kinds of protection and trying to make ends meet, but they don't have enough time to get out there and actually work out. And so one of the things we want to do throughout this podcast is talk about dad bod, right?
Oh boy.
And so
Oh yeah.
so that's something that's very real. And so I would love to dive into that. But before we do that, I want to also make mention of a few house notes while we have you here, Alan. Some of the things I would love to do is make sure that we have the supporters that Alan has, his listeners and his viewers, the audience out there in virtual reality. Sure that you get a chance to share, also like and subscribe to both YouTube channels so that you will be able to get the full impression and get a chance to listen to the rebroadcast for those who did not make the live streaming. And so with that as well, I want to give a shout out to all the viewers. If you're out there listening, if you're out there responding, I would love to hear and see what you have to say. And so I want to thank you all for being a part of the things that we're doing. And so lastly, one of the things I would love to do is ask a few questions to Alan, because I know that we are here for him. And so with that in mind, Alan, one of the things I wanted to ask you from the beginning is, how did you get into personal training and who inspired you to do so?
Yeah, that's actually a very great question. And the way I would reach and interact with everybody is everyone is on their own personal fitness journey. And I can just kind of share with you my fitness journey and how that led me to personal training. So as you mentioned in that introduction, I did grow up with an interest in martial arts, but it became wrestling that was that passion for me. And that really inspired me, the motivation to understand the thought process of how do you make weight and your performance. And then with that performance, that just led me on to other goals and aspirations. But then also, I believe too, we should track our wins. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of giftings that we have that we may not realize. And the gifting of teaching and fitness was kind of blended together for me, where I just thought everyone naturally kind of had these things in place, but I realized that these were skill sets that I could share. But it wasn't until the military, whenever I was put in a leadership position. And what I mean by that is I was a unit fitness program manager. And through that process, I had to mold and shape the programs for the troops, because if they didn't make their weight and if they didn't meet the physical requirements, they're going to get kicked out of the military. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head to say, this is life-changing, because somebody's career is on the line and you can really help them with demonstrable changes, but it's going to not only make them a better, leader in their home and in their job environment, but they'll just show up in all areas of life. So those are just some of the stepping stones that I used going through my fitness journey, as a high school, collegiate, and then even in the military. And then the thought process of personal development, growth, entrepreneurship, all of those things were very passionate to me. And I felt like this was the perfect blend and medley to kind of test your merit in all those areas by going into business as a personal trainer. And that is the start of my journey and where I am today. And then it's just been exciting to, live this life and present the gift of fitness, like I mentioned, to other people.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. And my next question is, what is the role of a personal trainer? Because a lot of times I have a lot of clients and different people telling me about they have this bulldog personal trainer, or one
Mhm.
that pushes them past the limit, or one that is just overbearing. And so
Sure.
what is the role of a personal trainer?
Yeah, that's kind of funny that you brought that up because I would think and agree that your skill set and your expertise should make you adaptable. Like one of my strengths is adaptability, where you can scale or reduce based on the ability level. I think some trainers, they only train the way they know how to train, but that may not be adaptable or suitable for their client. So really taking the time to connect with your individual who you're working with, realizing their goals, and then creating something that they can grow and aspire to. I think that is what I would call specific advice. There's a lot of catchy slogans and things online, but that would be general advice. Specific advice would be to say, okay, I'm meeting with somebody. We should get you motivated. You're motivated to make a change. And I always say, God can't steer a parked car. So once
Mm.
someone contacts me, I want to help them remain inspired. And then, like we talked about, crushing complacency. Let's find ways we can get quick victories, quick wins to help you move further along down that road.
And speaking of complacency, um, there are times where I try to work out and do things like
Mm,
that whenever I can with my, the little twinions running around.
sure.
And I find it hard to really be motivated because of
Correct.
so many things happening in life and
Mm,
all of the daily demands and activities. And so how
yes.
would one find that motivation, that
Yeah.
intrinsic motivation?
I think it begins with a desire. Like sometimes you can have a wake up call, like the doctor says, "Hey, we looked at your labs, and you need to make some changes." Or there may have been a health scare in your family, or you just look in the mirror, and I call it like a wake up in the morning problem. Like you wake up and you
Mhm.
look down and you're not happy with what you see. That's the wake up call. That's the light bulb. But then to say, okay, let's find out what we can start small and have consistency and repeatability mentally, for men especially, a lot of guys have come from several backgrounds, but in their mindset of, back in the day, like I could do this and that. Well, we're not back in the day, we're in the now. So let's
Mm.
see what you can do now that's consistent. Like I'd rather you say, okay, I'm going to commit to 3 20-minute workouts a day than you only than doing just one workout 1 day a week. So starting
Mhm.
small, building consistency, and then tracking your wins. That's going to be the ultimate key to victory, along with accountability. Someone that you can confide in that will hold you accountable. I think that's the biggest thing that would be necessary to get someone's jump start into fitness if they're coming from scratch.
Okay. All right. I definitely appreciate that because I know for myself, I'm not sure about anybody else, but that's the thing, that
Mm,
motivation, just really
yeah.
trying to find something that's gonna push me and get me
Hmm.
going.
Correct.
Um, and so my next question is, because I know we talked about Instagram. We talked about the
Yeah.
Instagram body. We made mention of that just before we started. And
Hmm.
these microwavable muscles and these get
Yeah.
quick fix muscles, and how to get to where we want to be with transforming that dad bod into
Sure.
the Greek god bod, right? And
Exactly.
so so with that in mind, is there a general formula such as from the Instagram physique, or does it depend on the individual based on like genetics, based
Hmm.
on health, based on, as you mentioned, that motivation? Is there a cookie cutter formula for
Yeah.
everybody who wants to get that Greek god bod?
Sure. Well, I would say, the genetics, we definitely don't want to deny that, but that can, also determine your strengths and weaknesses. Like if you look at different athletes, they are going to be genetically made up or different because of the way their bodies were conditioned or trained. But if you're looking at a role model on Instagram or any other service that's a fitness influencer, I would tell you their formula is something that I call the fitness triangle, where they're doing a combination of these three things. And that fitness triangle, if you looked at your life and your fitness goals are going down the triangle, one side is nutrition, the second side is strength training, and then cardio. So those are the three sides of the triangle. Most people that I meet, they only may be able to do one of those well. If they're advanced, they can do two, but it's rare to meet somebody who can balance all three. So I know growing up as a kid, we played, fighting games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and you got the basics, like you got the block, the punch, the jump, but it's like it's simple steps. But how do you master that process? And that's the circle of I call it riding a bike. So if you can ride your bike around this fitness triangle, track your wins. That's really the main three things that someone can follow as a recipe or formula for success. Would be nutrition first, followed by strength training to shape the body, and then cardio is going to be the conditioning, those aspects.
Wow. Wow. So, and you said something about the triangular.
Yes, sir.
Can you repeat that for us again?
Yeah, I like to call it the fitness triangle, meaning these are the pillars of fitness. If you had to, make a triangle: nutrition, strength training, and cardio. Those are the three pillars of what's going to determine somebody's success. If they have a balance of those three, then it's an analogy of, okay, you're going to ride your bike, master those principles, and you can scale them. So some of those guys that you see on Instagram, they don't look like that year round. They may just condition for a small period of time, then they take a photo shoot, and then they market that. But to say this is a lifestyle, there's a methodology to maintain this level of physique, with effort. Once you get there, you can maintain it. But depending on where you're starting from, you may want to set some goals and say, what's realistic? Am I going to the beach? Do I want to look good with my shirt off? Or some people say they call it shirt on big or shirt off rip. There's two different worlds you can live in.
Oh,
Have you heard about that before?
No. What is that again?
Okay. So for example, like shirt on big would be, we'll give it a movie example, like Fast and Furious, Vin Diesel. Like he's shirt on big, like big, he looks big with a shirt on, but if he took a shirt off, you may see some rolls. But like The Rock or like a Brad Pitt, somebody like that, that's shirt off rip. Well, they have lean levels of body fat. They present differently. So it just depends on what world you want to live in when it comes to your physique and how you display yourself. So that's the analogy there too. Shirt on big versus shirt off rip for the guys.
Wow. That's never heard of that. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so let's see. Where should a man who has been working all this time, maybe new in the gym, and trying to really feel his way, where should a man who has been doing all these things and looks around, he was young and vibrant and virile, and all of a sudden you turn around, he's developed this dad bod. Where should he begin in his fitness journey?
Yeah, that's great. I think, I can definitely share a story about that too, because even in my fitness journey, I've had some ups and downs. And, my first year out of the military, I gained over 50 pounds. You probably see that on one of my profile pages. But the tenets that I subscribed to, I kind of fell off and thought I knew those, but they were out of my control. And for me, it was like a wake up in the morning problem. Like it wasn't until I wanted to go on a date with my wife and I tried on a pair of jeans and my jeans didn't fit. And I told my wife, I was like, I think I need to go to Old Navy because these pants aren't working out. So from there, I remembered, I took inventory and I said, I need to plan a SMART goal. So SMART, in the military, I use this acronym. SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So if you're serious about this process, we need to find a specific goal for you, something that's measurable. I think 2 weeks is a measurable time period to show change. And it has to be achievable and realistic. Like we talked about, you said you're not going to lose, 30 pounds overnight, but what can you do consistently for 2 weeks? That can be habit forming, and then putting that timestamp on it with accountability, knowing that someone is guided me through this process. I think some of the ways that you could get excited, and if you have that inner circle of trust with friends, family, you can tell somebody, look, I really want to do this. I'm looking for some accountability, but this goal needs to be smart. So I think those would be the building blocks of being able to get started, and then just having that humbling experience of knowing, I'm in this for myself, but it's not by myself, because as a man, we are the provider, protector of our home. There are other people that are dependent on us. So that should give you more resolve and strength as you move on in this journey of life.
Wow. Never thought about that. Never thought about that. Thank you. Thank you. And there's another expression that I hear a lot of people say, abs are made in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you got some people going in there, excuse me, going inside the kitchen, doing sit-ups, going doing dips on the countertop.
Yeah.
Can you break down to us what that really means when they say abs are made in the kitchen?
Correct. Yeah, that's a great analogy of abs are made in the kitchen, and I would follow that up with a quote of "You are what you eat." So, just to kind of drive that point home, what you eat in private will show up in public. So, what I mean by that is the conditioning of your body, meaning the level of body fat that you can maintain and carry, is going to be the determining factor of how visible your abs are going to be. Your abs are there, but there may just be fat and water covering them up. So rather than focusing your effort on trying to get stronger in crunches, I would say let's clean up your diet, overhaul the diet, and then you will be able to see what you work for visibly. So that goes back into that world of don't want to be shirt off, ripped. And there's certain levels of body fat that you can maintain healthily. Like, you don't have to kill yourself to get down there. You can live year round, with a little bit of effort and moderation, and enjoy life and still have, visible abs.
Wow. And so, because I can speak for myself, I know sometimes I, have a hard time with like that belly area, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I'm not as, I'm petite, right? I'm a small guy. And so, but even small guys still have, little pockets of fat and stuff like that. And I know
Sure.
me, that I'm trying to keep that tummy tight. And so, when you said water and fat are the
Correct.
things that are like the culprits to when you're working out. And so, is it that the person drinks too much water, person's not drinking enough water, they're not doing enough cardio?
Yeah.
What's the solution to actually attacking or trying to manage that water and that fat within the body?
Sure. Yeah. Just to keep it, high level, because all of these principles we're talking about, they can be scaled. So, for example, like, you do have fat and water that covers the muscles. But going back to that phrase, you are what you eat, there are foods that you can eat that can reduce that water weight. So I would say any foods that you eat that will cause bloating, swelling, inflammation, you want to avoid those. But then also you want to make sure you're drinking adequate amounts of water to kind of flush out those toxins in the body. And then two, when it comes to nutrition, your protein should be a higher emphasis as a food group, because that is going to result in muscle building. So I call these food combinations. So for example, a meal could have a protein, a vegetable, and a fat, or a protein, a fruit, and a fat. And then you can have a protein, vegetable, carb. That's the main typical serving you're going to see at a restaurant. Like, if you sit down at a restaurant, they're going to give you a protein entree with a serving of 2 servings of a vegetable or a carb. But you want to make sure that you moderate those carbs, because they come in excess, and that is what's definitely going to cover those abs.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. And the thing is, and I'm so glad that you're here, because one of the things I work with clients in my sessions sometimes is that men go through body shaming as well.
Sure.
I know when you mentioned earlier, you said something about that you had some jeans and you put them on and you was like, oh, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
and so you had to go and try to find a size that fits you for that moment. And so
Right.
men go through the same thing. And I know we put a lot of emphasis in society about, body shaming in women, but, brothers have the same experience. You all of a sudden, you had that washboard 6-pack or 8-pack, and eventually you started living life and working and the gym life, you're no longer a gym rat because
Hmm.
now you're a workaholic. And
Correct.
so with those things, I have to deal with some men to help them with body positivity,
Sure.
focusing on the positives and the wins, as you mentioned, right? Counting your wins,
Correct.
focusing on those small wins.
Absolutely.
And that affects people mentally as well because it deals with self esteem, that confidence, the ability to approach a young lady or to be confident on a job or, whatever that confidence requires because that body image is very important.
Correct.
And so I think that when you discuss the genes, that was a really great point because I believe that all of us go through it. It's just that we may not necessarily know how to actuate the plan,
Hmm.
and this is one of the key things I deal with:
Okay.
consistency, sticking
Consistent.
with the
Yeah.
plan,
Yeah.
right? Because it's hard to do that because sometimes I can't go to the gym, and so I would try and find a way to compensate. So if I'm not working
Exactly.
out, if I'm not running, but sometimes my compensation goes to eating the wrong food, like
Sure.
stocking up on bread, stocking up
Hmm.
on snacks or whatever I can grab. And
Yeah.
by you mentioning certain foods with water and fat, that really makes me think and to become more food conscious, because that affects how I feel and my mood as well, right? What I eat
Correct.
affects my mood because you are what you eat. And so I think that those points are you drive it home as well taken. And speaking of water and consumption and food, does drinking alcohol impact your fitness journey?
Yes. Unfortunately, I wouldn't lie to you and say it doesn't, but it does have we'll say a systemic impact because it affects all of the systems. There are some ways you can kind of counteract those effects. There's a lot of research now about, vitamin B12 and other minerals, amino acids that you can take before you drink to kind of lessen the effects. But I would look at it from a social aspect, like if that's a requirement or that's something that you're not ready to give up at this point in time, that we can just look at it like calories in, calories out. So, for example, for some of my clients, if they want to drink socially, I would tell them to not put sugar on top of sugar. And what I mean by that is alcoholic, when it breaks down, it is fructose sugar based. So you don't want to have fruit on the same day that you're going to drink, or you want to try to drink something that's lesser filling in calories, like a light drink. So you either want to do that maybe the day before, pull your fruits out, or just make sure you don't have fruits the day after. But then rehydration is very important. Coming back with just more than water, we need to come back with minerals, electrolytes, because when you sweat and when you consume alcohol, it is depleting your body of those things that are vital for your fitness goals.
Wow. Wow. Didn't know that. You said sugar on top of sugar.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want to have like a fruit basket and then go out and drink again because then the sugar is just going to be layered on top of each other. And the body is a machine. It's programmable, so it'll do whatever you tell it to do. So if you give it sugar, it'll say, "Hey, I'm going to store this," and then you give him sugar again. He's like, "Well, I didn't burn off what you gave me last time, so you must want me to just pack this on and store it," and then it can just kind of creep up on you. And
Wow.
that's actually kind of interesting. You navigated that through because my son, he was just born back in February, but I had kind of fallen off on my journey, and I realized that dad bod was imminent. So I had to set a personal goal to lose 15 pounds, before he came, because I wanted to give myself a head start. So just a quick story testimony to that. I knew once he got here, my workout time would be very limited, and it was. So I personally did not, I did not, was not able to do any workouts. So I had to really focus and hone in on my diet. So I focused more on eating more, lean proteins, vegetables, and I only had one carb meal a day. And one carb meal kept me, alert. I wasn't drowsy or bogged down. But those are some of the things that I use personally in my own development and tool system. But these same principles can be applied to anybody in their life, but you want to do it, you want to work smarter, not harder. Because anything that you do, like we talked about, it needs to be consistent and it needs to be a smart goal. So these are just some ways that you can manipulate the situation. And then that'll also impact how your body interprets stress. Like if you're in a good state of mind when you have good food in you and you've exercised, how you can react to those things can make them better and just more effective all around.
Wow, awesome, awesome. And so I want to take a break and just really acknowledge a few while we're in these questions. We have a
Okay.
Shelly. How are you, Shelly? And we also have Crystal. How are you,
All right.
Crystal? Thank you all for joining us and thank you for providing those insights. And if you could continue to like, to share, and to repost or tag someone. We want to make sure that we get a chance to highlight all of the importance that's happening out there, especially with the fitness, right? Fitness. When we're talking about fitness and health, we're talking about mental fortitude and how the two are an amalgamation of how to live a healthy life. Because in many cases, as the mind goes, so goes the body. And so it's an interworking. And I want to take your word, Alan. You said it's a machine. The body is a machine, right?
Yes.
And so what we put into it, what we take out of it, that is the performance that it gives. And so we have to take care of both the mind and the body. And
Mm-hmm.
so we definitely appreciate you all for that. And so, and if you have any questions out there, please feel free to post your questions. I want to make sure that I get a chance to put them out there if you have a comment or something you want to say. And so with that, go ahead and let us know where you are viewing from. If you're viewing from your phone, the laptop, the rooftop,
Yeah.
I'm not sure where you're viewing from, but just let us know where you're viewing from and we'll give you a shout out. And so again, thank you so much for joining us, for viewers and the audience who are here to support Alan in his interview and then also supporting Live.Better.Now Counseling for the Culture podcast show. And so with that, I also want to ask another question. And I noticed even on your website, alanelliott.com,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned that you also provide the opportunity to give information or ways to help individuals relieve stress. How can working out help to relieve stress? What are the benefits on your end that you see it helps?
Correct. Yeah, I feel like, and this is, I think you attributed this to Linton, mindset. This is my mindset when it comes to work. Like you want to work from your rest, not rest from your work. So if you primed your body and you're in a good state, meaning the program and the nutrition is there, then you can do the work. So most people, the first thing I ask them when they come in to train with me, how much water have you had and when's the last time you ate? Because that's going to determine what we're going to be able to accomplish in our workout. So with that mindset, working out is a great stress reliever in a positive way because you physically exert yourself and it creates that that dopamine high. But then on the back end of that, how do you replenish that? So your recovery is just as important. So I would tell people it's not about how much you can do, it's how quickly you can recover because that builds back into what we talked about of consistency. Like if you do a killer workout and you're wiped out and you can't come back the next day, then you overextended yourself. And that is a negative stressor. Also, when it comes to mindset and preparation, I would recommend people schedule it in their calendar, write it down. This is what I want to do. Like if this are my meals or this is the time that I'm going to eat, if you write it down, if it's in your calendar, the chances of it happening are so much higher. And then even just the simple habit of laying out your clothes the night before, like I still try to do those same habits from the military. I lay out my clothes the night before. I look at my calendar because that kind of helps mentally prepare for the day. So those are some ways that you can eliminate stressors that could be preventable, if that makes sense.
Yes. And so we do have a question that I want to make sure that we get a chance to answer. And this question is from Flora. Flora is asking, what are your opinions about fasting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fasting, I would say, is going to be determined on a case-by-case basis, meaning the most successful one that I have seen with my clients, we call it intermittent fasting. And the easiest way that you could implement intermittent fasting is to just eliminate breakfast. This is a case-by-case, so we're just working in this example. But if you eliminate breakfast, you're eating in a shorter window of time of 8 hours, and then you're going to be fasting for 16. But on a case-by-case basis, the most important thing is you still have to meet your daily calorie threshold in the hours that you're going to eat. So it's not going to do you any good to fast and then you don't eat enough calories when you break the fast, because your body is going to say, oh, you're not feeding me. I'm in starvation mode. It's just going to hold on to everything. So those would be my loose opinions. Intermittent fasting, but with guidance and meeting your calorie threshold minimum on a daily basis.
Wow, this is awesome. And and I think for me, because I have tried to do that type of fasting, I find
Mhm.
myself getting lightheaded, right? Because
Yeah,
I'm just going off by like Instagram or
correct.
social media, and
Yeah,
people say, "Oh, I fast," and all of a sudden, I'm in there getting lightheaded. I'm like, I
yeah.
can't do that. I'm
Yeah, I
already.
can't. Yeah, I can't recommend fasting for a workout either. Hydration is
Mm,
very important. It really is going to come down to the person's, lifestyle. There are some principles, but I would say we need to, crawl before we walk, walk before we run. So those
wow.
would be the steps in the thought process, towards fasting.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so because and I'll say this, right. We have so many people who are using Instagram as a template. We're
Hmm.
using those those physiques. We're using all of these influencers as a template. And you did mention that for everyone it's a personal journey, right? And
Correct.
so you have individuals who, like myself, smaller type frame. You have
Hmm.
individuals who are more in your frame, and those who are in somewhat a little weightier. And so
Sure.
are there certain workouts for certain body types?
Correct. Yeah, that's a very good question. I would approach your fitness, if we're talking about fitness information and how you interpret it, I'm going to use the word grocery cart technique. Like if you're in the grocery store, if you like it, if it resonates with you, take it off the cart, put it in your basket, and then study it. Some of this could be general advice where it's applicable to you. Some of this may not be applicable. So depending on a person's goals, it would be dependent on, like we said, going back to that fitness triangle. Someone who's already thin and lean, they may not need to do as much cardio as someone who's heavy set. So then it determines on what amount of activity from those sides of the triangle are you going to have to invest your time on. Like someone could get better results by doing a little more cardio and less strength training. But obviously, nutrition is always going to be number one. I won't negotiate on
Okay.
that.
Okay. So
Yep.
nutrition is apex. It is most important. Nutrition, what
Yes.
you put in your body, because I'm assuming and I actually saw this on Instagram just a few days ago.
Okay.
This there was this person who was just eating whatever they wanted to eat and say, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I eat whatever I eat so I can work out. And so does it catch up to you? Does it
Yeah.
come full circle? You eat whatever you want to eat, and all of a sudden you still losing or whatnot. Does it really
Yeah.
work that way?
I would say, and this is another quote: like you can't out train a bad diet,
Mm,
but some people they're more genetically blessed than others.
okay. Okay.
My wife, she's genetically blessed where we were going out the same amount of times, but the pounds were sticking to me, not to her. And I was like, hey, we got to do something different. But you definitely can't out train a bad diet. So I also too, from regards to mental health, you don't want to use exercise as a crutch to overeat, because then that develops a negative
Mm,
relationship between you and food. Like I've had some people say, well, I'm here now, so I can go have that pizza tonight. And the pizza should be a byproduct of I've done enough work already in my goals where the pizza I can enjoy because I prepared for it. It's not that you had to make a sacrifice. It's just this is now a part of your lifestyle where you can have these things and be enjoying them, but you're not going to suffer or regress on your goals that you're working for.
wow. So this is amazing, because I think the way you just put that you can't out train a bad diet, and how you actually linked it to mental health, because there are some individuals who struggle with that, right? Based on their mood. So they go out and they eat too much, whether it
Mhm.
is, eating in excess because of depression, because of grief, or
Yes.
because of going through manic depressive state. And so
Mm.
I think that was a great point to make, because many times most people become emotional eaters, right? They
Yes.
eat based on their emotions, and all of a sudden, after I've eaten, after I've consumed this, then I am either, excuse it, me being graphic, go and
Sure.
regurgitate this, or I'm
Oh
going to
no. Yeah.
go and overwork and overcompensate to the
Hmm.
point of injury.
Correct.
How should one weigh in with your thoughts? How should one be able to balance rest workout days? Because I see
Yes.
some people say no days off, no days
Mm.
off. I'm going,
Yeah.
all day, 24/7.
Yeah.
Is that healthy? Is that something that is productive for the body and for the mind?
No, definitely not sustainable. And what I would say in regards to that thought process, if you're looking at your week as a whole, in a good week span of time, Monday through Friday, there should be a emphasis to say, okay, I want to try to do at least 2 days of strength training and 2 days of cardio, at a minimum, just to say I want to move the needle. And if you can't do those 2 days of each, then you could put it down into one day, meaning like you'll go 15 minutes of lift, 15 minutes of cardio, just to build some consistency. But to go back and answer your original question, you were talking about the relationship with food, or repeat that one more time for me. I want to make sure I answered it
Yes,
properly.
because some individuals have a certain relationship with food,
Yes.
and what they end up doing, they will overeat.
Okay, I understand
They
now.
and they would go through just those bouts because of emotional eating and not being
Sure.
able to know how to actually you do that in moderation or control themselves. So what should a person do, or your thoughts from a personal trainer's perspective? How should
Hmm.
one address or manage that emotional take when it comes to
Perfect.
food?
Okay, I understand now. So if we look at it in the context of, I look at education as empowerment and self awareness. If you're aware of what's happening to you, then you're no longer ignorant. But then it's a matter of how do I right this ship, or how do I course correct? So, for
Mm,
example, someone who may be eating emotionally, I'll call it the carb roller coaster, where you eat the carbs, you feel good, you spike, but then your blood sugar drops, and then you eat the carbs again, you spike, and then your blood sugar drops. So
mm,
if someone didn't have the knowledge to understand why is this happening to me, they would just be stuck on that roller coaster loop. But fundamentally, if you can say, okay, what can I do about this situation, and how can I balance my blood sugar? I think that's very important. When we talked about the nutrition, Linton, in the beginning, everything fundamentally, even the fasting is a way to balance your blood sugar, but it has to be done correctly.
mm.
Protein is a great way to balance your blood sugar, stabilize your hormones, and promote muscle building, putting you in a state what we call anabolic. So if you're aware of this carb roller coaster, and you identify with this food and say, look, I've already been on this roller coaster, I know where this food is going to take me, then I need to pivot and say, okay, what can I put in replacement of this that's going to create a positive effect? So I would say I always lead with a protein-based snack, a fat-based snack. Those are ways that you can say this is in direct correlation to my mental health, because that carb roller coaster will spike your emotions and the dopamine levels.
Okay. So, we do have a couple questions, but I wanted to ask and just kind of piggyback. You
Sure.
said protein-based snacks or fat-based snacks. Can you give us an
Correct.
example of a protein-based snack?
Exactly. Yeah. So rather than going for like a donut or a bagel, I would tell you to go for like a can of tuna, or a protein shake, or even like protein cookie, protein bar, and then you can have that other carb on the back end, but you prioritize your protein. And then from a fat standpoint, what's been very popular, some people like to do nuts or cheeses with vegetables, like you could do celery and like sliced mozzarella sticks. Or even people have done what's called the bulletproof coffee. You've heard where they've added the ghee or the MCT oils to their coffee. That's going to create some nutrients that's going to sustain them. Because if you remember, your body is a machine. When
Mm,
you eat certain foods, like carbs are like gasoline, like they just flame out and they don't burn. A protein and a carbohydrate, that's like putting a log on the fire. Like it's gonna burn and sit, and then you're stable. But you don't want to pour gasoline on the fire and then you just flame out and you crash again. That's just another analogy of what foods are going to work best in your favor. And if you know your work schedule, you can kind of set those snacks up so you're not just surviving through the end of the workday and then you've already hit that carb roller coaster. Some people get on that roller coaster and don't even know they're on it, just by going through the day with not being prepared or not having food in place to help them survive the day.
Wow. That analogy was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I
Thank you.
must say that. And so we do have a few questions. I want to take a question we have here, and we'll go with Crystal. Crystal asks, what are the different body types and how do we train, or what do we eat according to the body type that an individual may have?
That's a great question. So taking it from the top level, and again, Linton, we have men and women on the panel. So I would say there's a difference between guy muscle versus girl muscle. But fundamentally, the muscles that you want to focus on and train would be dependent on your body type. So for ladies, we would want to focus on the feminine muscle groups: shoulders, glutes, hamstrings, nothing that's too masculine like traps in the neck or quads. For guys, friends don't let friends skip leg day. So we got to hit the legs too, guys. That's going to help release some testosterone. Legs, back, chest, shoulders. Those are the different muscle groups that you would train based on a guy or a girl. And then your eating plan would be based on what we talked about in the beginning, which would be those food combinations. So during the day, some people would benefit more from having a variety of a protein, a vegetable, a fat, a protein, a carb, and a fruit. So any meal that you sit down to eat, you want to identify what is my protein and then what comes after that. Is it going to be a vegetable? Is it going to be a fat? Is it going to be a fruit? Those are the 5 common food groups we eat from. And just to list those, your 5 common food groups are protein, complex carbs, vegetables, fruits, and fats. Those are the 5 areas that any food comes from. But the combination of how you eat those will determine what's going to be best for your body type.
Ooh, you say protein. What were those 5? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yes. So number 1 is protein. Number 2 would be complex carbohydrates. So those would be, bread, rice, oatmeal, cereal. Vegetables, you want to go with vegetables that aren't going to bloat you. So green beans, asparagus, spinach. You want to avoid some vegetables that could bloat you. And then fruits, your fruits need to be what we call low glycemic. So anything that's going to spike your blood sugar, like a banana, a grape, a peach, those are high glycemic fruits. So that would put you on the carb roller coaster. We want to lean more towards fruits that are berry or fiber based. So if you mush it, then it's going to be high glycemic. If you push it and it springs back, like a berry, apple, things that are high in fiber are low glycemic. And then fats would be nuts, nut butters, dressings, oils. These are the building blocks at the hormonal level that men and women both benefit from, more so than the carbs. Those are plentiful in the American diet. So if we can reduce the carbs, increase the veggies, the fruits and fats, and keep that protein at the forefront, we will go a long way.
Okay. Wow. This is amazing information, because I never heard of it before like this.
Mm-hmm.
We have another question. Shelly asks, any thoughts on high protein, low carb?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that philosophy because, like I said, in the American culture, we live here, most of us anyway on this podcast, carbs are plentiful. So even at a restaurant, like when you go into a restaurant, whatever portion sizes they're going to serve you, obviously if you paid for it, just take it, but box half of it, and that's going to be appropriate portion size. So box half of that to go. Your protein, you will benefit from that, from having a higher priority and focus, and then the low carbs. But just pay attention to how your body feels during the day, because when you choose to reduce your carbs may be a better determining factor, not if, it's just when you're going to do it. Like if you're going into a meeting, you need to be vibrant. You don't want to be slow, sluggish or dull. So those would be the determining factors of why or when you would do a high protein, low carb diet.
Wow. Okay. And so with that, we have questions coming in, so you got
Okay, yeah. If you
gonna
got
be
time, I
taking
got
these
time.
questions. Yes, and
Yeah.
so with that, we did have another question, and it's related to, we talked about the fasting, and so I want to ask this question again.
Okay.
Um, what's your opinion about fasting? And
Yes.
I'll say, because I know we did mention fasting, and it's based on the individual, but can you kind of repeat to us again your thoughts on fasting?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So at a high level, there are benefits of fasting, but it has to be done on a, I'm going to use the word case by case basis. And if someone was interested in fasting, the fastest, not literally the fastest, the quickest way that they could start it would be to skip breakfast and then start their first meal around 11 or 12. But they need to get all their calories in the day between 12 and 8. So then when they start the fast again, they're going to fast for 16 hours. So if you look at a clock, 24 hours in a day, you only eat an 8 and you fast for the other 16, you're in a fat burning state. But the time of when you would do that fast is also just as important as how many calories are you going to eat when you break the fast. So it's not always about the fasting, is can I eat as many calories as I need to in that shorter window of time. And that's how you do it safely under supervision from, like you said, a clinical physician or a trainer.
Wow, this is so scientific driven that
Yeah,
you really have to have someone who is an expert and a trainer in this, because if not, you could really do some damage to your body.
yeah, it's
You
possible.
Wow. And so we have another question coming from L'Oreal. She asked, what veggies bloat you? What are the
Mhm.
veggies that you have in mind that you know of that actually contributes to bloating?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I learned more about this particular part of nutrition from my experience in bodybuilding and getting ready for photo shoots. Because literally, you are what you eat. So when you show up for a photo shoot or you show up for a fitness competition, anything that you can take in can potentially be harmful to you. So the vegetables that I've found that would cause bloating, swelling, inflammation in the body would be broccoli is a big culprit just because of the fiber. Not a lot of people digest it very well. Cabbage could be another one because it causes water retention. Those would be broccoli, cabbage. Those would be the two to avoid. The ones I know more about the ones you want to focus on. So I'm a big believer in substitution, not elimination. I'm not going to tell you to stop eating something without giving you something in return. But the vegetables that promote a healthy lifestyle, that keep you naturally flushed, that eliminate water toxins from the body would be celery, cucumbers, asparagus, green beans. Those are all going to be the safe vegetables that have the least chance of bloating you.
Wow. Never knew that. Never knew that. This is great. Thank you all so much for those questions. And I know we have one more question I wanted to also hear. Shelly asked about portion control.
Yes. So, yeah, that's a great question, Shelley. Thank you for asking that. Portion control also comes down to knowing your calorie. We use the word budget. Like if you're looking at calories like money, if you budget your calories during the weekday, on the weekend you can go into what we call calorie maintenance. So if you saved your calories during the weekday, you can eat a little more on the weekend, and it's not going to hurt you. But when it comes down to portion control, fundamentally, like if you're at a restaurant, like we talked about, most of their serving sizes are double, triple, but you get what you pay for. So just cut that in half. But then there's some quick, hand gestures you can use to measure your protein size. For ladies, if you make a fist, this is about 4 to 6 ounces. So you want to kind of eyeball that for this is my protein size. And then if there's a carb serving, you want to look at your hand. I don't know if I can do it from this position, but look at your hand here and then cut that in half. So whatever you can have on the back of your palm, that's going to be the serving size of a portion of carbs. Your vegetables can be a little more plentiful, and then your fats. Just think about two, like either two fingers or 2 tablespoons because fats are the highest concentration. So if you're at a restaurant or if you're at a social event, you can kind of pick out certain foods that are going to work for your body, but eating them in the right portion would be a way that you can control how many calories that you're going to take in as a best guesstimate.
Wow. This is you are a gem. I mean, you dropping them because these are things that I've never heard. You see it on social media, and then you go by trial and error. And
Yeah.
so I don't want to miss out because I know we have one more question, and it is from Rosa. Rosa asks,
Okay.
how do you go by your health if there's a lot of health issues and you really want to be healthy? Regarding, let's say, for instance, about 75 and older.
hmm Yes, I call that's my aunt. I appreciate that, but I call them my golden girls. So my golden girls is we just want to wake up in the morning and have a great day. Meaning your knees don't hurt, your joints don't hurt. So anything that you can do to prevent swelling and inflammation in the body, you can stay hydrated. I think at that age too, range of motion is very important. So you don't have to do full blown workouts, but just to make sure you can maintain your range of motion, stretching, flexibility, all those things are what I work on with my clients in the golden years. And also strengthening your core. There's good things you can do, chair yoga, balancing exercises. These are all the things that are going to help you in your golden years as we age gracefully, is what we want to call it.
Mm. Wow, this is awesome. I definitely appreciate all of the information that you provided. Alan, you are a jewel, a gem, and you are what's needed out there, especially in the community of health and fitness, and being able to blend that in with mental health as well. So we definitely appreciate all of it. Someone says, I love it. And
Yeah.
be golden. The gold, you
Yeah.
call them, you say you golden girls.
Golden girls, yep. They're my favorites.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And we have Crystal say definitely needed. And one of the things I want to do, I want to take a little 30-second commercial break because Alan, we're going to come back and we're going to test you with what we call the wheel deal. It's not the
Okay.
real deal, but the wheel deal. So if you all stay tuned, give us about a 30-second commercial break. We're going to come back with the wheel deal, and then we will be closing out our segment. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for tuning in. Stay connected. We'll be back in just a short moment. Hello, everyone. Just before we start, I want to do a quick idea of ways for us to be able to stay connected and stay tuned because, again, June is the entire month for men, which is MENDay Monday. And so we do have another segment coming up, which is episode 2 of MENDay Monday, which will be next week, which is the 12th. And so with that in mind, I want to make sure that I introduce to you Mr. Anthony Murray, who will be coming up for us. And so, again, this is Mr. Anthony Murray, who is going to be talking about financial fitness, right? Financial health, ways to mend yourself financially so that you will have a great working knowledge on things dealing with life insurance, health, finances, investments. And so I think that is very important for us in addition to MENDay Monday and teaching men how to be able to have the insight on financial health and not only physical health alone. And so for the entire month, we have the total segment going on, which is Let's Talk About It, MENDay Monday. So we have June 5th, which is today, Mr. Alan Elliott. We have Anthony Murray for the 12th, Mr. James Harris on the 19th, and we have also Dr. Jamal Lawrence, which will be on the 26th. So again, to focus on men for the month of June, we're working on all things physical health, right? Mending the physical health, financial health, mending our finances. We have mental health, mending the mind, the psyche, as well as the overall health, ways to mend the health of life. And so as you move forward, so with that, we are also going to start with what we mentioned, which is bringing Mr. Allen back, and we're going to share the screen so that we can get into the real deal, better known as the wheel deal. All righty. And so give me 1 second as we bring you up, and we're going to share this. I am excited about it. So let's see what we have here. We're going to bring you all in. All righty, here we go. So we have the wheel deal. All right, are you ready, Mr. Allen?
Let's do it.
Sing or rap a
Oh,
line from
man.
one of your favorite records or artists.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, this is tough. Put me on the spot.
I know. I'm sorry.
Single. Well, I think we'll be appropriate and say from Drake. My official name is Franklin Drake Elliott Jr. So
Yes.
I say started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Hey,
Yep, let's do it.
I love it. I love
Yep.
it. I love it. There we go. All right, so we're doing 5. So we got 4 to go.
Yep.
Who was your favorite superhero, fictional character?
Yeah, I would say growing up, I was really big into Ninja Turtles, but then right around 7 to 9, the X-Men that left an impression on me. So I'm gonna have to go with Gambit. He's still my favorite character all time.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
he
yeah.
had the swagger, the cards, the charm. Yep. Yep.
Oh yes. All right. So we got about 3 more to go. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's the same.
I got another one.
Okay, let's go. That's 3.
Man.
That's 3.
Okay, hold on. I don't know. Like, I guess we'll say the first one that came to me was MC Hammer. Too legit to quit. Yeah. So like that's where we are in life. We're too legit to quit. We gotta crush complacency and keep this party rolling.
Yes. Oh yes. I completely agree. Yep. Let's see. We got 2 more to go. Spin, 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 spinner, spinner, winner. Let's see what we have. Ooh. Finals. NBA Finals. Who do you think will win in the finals?
Well, I feel like Miami, they turned the corner. So maybe LeBron can live through them since he played previously. That's the only way to get it done.
Yeah.
So go with the Heat.
Going for the Heat. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I no wonder I invited you on the show. I knew what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So last spin. Let's see what we have. Ooh, this is a good one. I love this one. What are 3 coping skills you use to decompress?
Yeah. So in the context of decompression, you mean like if you're problem solving or going through a hard time, or what do you say there?
Yeah, if you're going through a hard time, you're feeling stressed, things are on your shoulders, life is wearing you down, you're doing a lot of proverbially doing a lot of heavy lifting. What would be 3 coping skills that you use so that the audience would be able to kind of pick up on some of those as well?
Yeah, honestly, coping skills. Well, I can give you 1 physical, and then I'll give you 2 mental. But physically, for me, going to work out, it is a positive stress reliever, and I feel empowered if I'm approaching a situation or a decision to go in the gym and physically move weight and exert myself, because you got to have like conversations to get motivated to do some of these weights and to accomplish some of these goals, and then you come out empowered. So decompression for me, having a good workout, that's a highlight. It continues to be a highlight in my life of having a good workout. Not every day, but at least, 3 or 4 days a week. And then that's my physical coping skill. And then if you look at prayer, like meditation, tracking your wins, and giving thanks. So like being thankful, giving thanks for what's happened before you and what's going to happen, after you. Those are things that I subscribe to as far as mental health and coping. And then I think the last one from my military training would be uh, it could always be worse. That's a negative way to say it, but like in the training that we went through, they put you through, every possible situation, but that resiliency of, okay, I've been through worse and I can make it. There's a phrase by a very popular wrestler called, his name is Dan Gable. So his quote is, once you wrestle, everything in life is easy. So there's been, times where we've wrestled with decisions and, you come to crossroads, and then that resiliency of, okay, I've done this before, or I've been to these points and I surprised myself. That was one of the biggest reasons I wanted to go to the Citadel, because I was looking for a challenge, and it brought out the best and the worst in me. But knowing that resiliency is there, and things can always be worse, so be thankful for what you have, and then look for ways to improve. Those would be some of the things I would subscribe to. I do want to. I don't know if I put that correctly, but that's just my military background for how we were trained. But there's probably got to be a better positive spin for that, Lynn. I need you to help me with that.
Oh, that works. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Because that's more so of focusing on the positive,
Yeah.
eliminating the negative, right? It
Mhm.
could be worse. And so
Yeah.
you're looking forward to those things that are better. So I actually love that.
Okay.
I actually
Yeah.
love that. And I think if we don't have any more questions, that just may do it for us. You gave us, the wheel deal with responses.
Yeah.
You gave us, good insight and great information. I think is most valuable, and it will definitely add value to our viewers, to those who are watching live streaming, to those who are going to watch the rebroadcast. And so for all the viewers out there, thank you so much. For those who are in support of Alan, Elliott, and AE Fitness, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this platform, which is Counseling for the Culture, also known as Counsel Culture, because we want to, again, focus on men for the month of June, which is MENDay Monday. Every Monday of this month, we're going to be tuning in and focusing on things to help men to improve their lives with solution-focused methods, not just theoretical, but things that you can do and you can apply and actuate every day. And so with that in mind, if we have any more questions, any more thoughts, we have some. I want to give a few shout outs for those who say they love the wheel deal. Amazing information. We definitely appreciate you all for being a part of it, and stay tuned, because we have more coming. And I think that with this and your viewership, it's going to be awesome. I want to make sure that I give things to you that are valuable. And Alan has definitely done a great job with providing information to us that I didn't know. That is not, I'm not in that industry. That's not my field expertise. And so we definitely value all the things that you brought to the table. We're going to look at a couple comments here from a few of us who provided outstanding. All right, man of God. Awesome
Thanks,
work.
Mom. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Beautiful information. Great job. Great job. We also have someone loves Gambit.
I hope to see him soon. He'll be making
Yes.
a movie appearance, hopefully.
Yes, a Gambit fan out there. And we also have, let's see. We have everything. This is amazing information, and so you're very valued. You're very appreciated, Alan, and we thank you for your time. And without further ado, we do have for you to stay tuned. And so, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and send you to backstage, Alan.
Are we
Thank
going to
you
do the
so
fist
much.
bump first?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. So, everyone that's on live, we'll do the fist bump to the camera. That's how we do it. Crush complacency.
Yes, crushing complacency. There we have it. There we have it. Thank you very much. And oh my goodness, we have Alan. Thank you for the valuable insight. And so
Most welcome.
let's say, how can we be contacted for more information? So the ways you can contact Alan, and I'm also going to add this, and so you can also put that there if you like to, Alan. They're asking, how can you be contacted?
Okay. Just my website, AlanElliott.com, and there's a contact button there, but that would be a great way to connect with me. Definitely like to learn more about yourself and your fitness goals, men or women, just to help you get started along your journey. Those are the things I'm passionate about. So I would redirect people to my website, AlanElliott.com.
There we go. There we have it. AlanElliott.com. Thank you so much, Alan. We appreciate you. And we look forward to long-term relationships and connections. And so, again, thank you so much. And there we go. We're going to go ahead and send you to backstage. And with that in mind, family, I definitely want to say thank you so much for being a part of this platform, for being here. And I think that the next thing is for us to continue to stay safe, stay lifted, and stay tuned. There is more coming next Monday, which is the 12th of June. We got our speaker, Mr. Murray Allen. He will be coming to see you. Thank you so much. And we are out.
Living better now, however, living better now, better now, however, living better now, living better now, living better now, living better now, however, living better now, living better now, however, living better now, better now, living better now, however, living better